Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty, watching the stars through the large window. His ship was exploring the edge of human space, looking for new worlds where people could live. The Liberty was not a warship. It was built for science and exploration. Jake had been a captain for 10 years, and he loved his job. "Captain, we have something on the sensors," said Commander Lisa Hayes. She was the ship's tactical officer, a smart woman who always stayed calm under pressure. Lisa had served with Jake for 5 years, and he trusted her completely. Jake walked over to her station. "What is it, Lisa?" "It's a ship, sir, but it's not human. The design is completely different from anything we've seen before." Lisa's fingers moved quickly over her controls. "It's big, Captain." "Much bigger than us." Jake felt his heart beat faster. This was humanity's first contact with aliens. For years, people had wondered if there was other life in the galaxy. Now they had their answer. "Open a communication channel," Jake ordered. The main screen flickered, and suddenly an alien face appeared. The creature had blue skin and large, yellow eyes. Its head was longer than a human head, and it had no hair. When it spoke, its voice was deep and strange. "I am Ambassador Vex Thara of the Zephyrian Galactic Empire," the alien said. "I bring a message for the humans of this system." Jake stepped forward. "I am Captain Jake Morrison of the human exploration ship Liberty. We welcome peaceful contact with your people." The alien's eyes seemed to glow brighter. "This is not a social visit, human. I bring you a warning. Your species has expanded beyond your home world. This cannot continue." Lisa looked at Jake with worry in her eyes. Dr. Alex Turner, the ship's scientist, moved closer to listen. Alex was a quiet man who studied alien life, though he had never seen a real alien before today. "We claim all star systems beyond your solar system under the ancient laws of galactic conquest," Vex Thara continued. "You have exactly 72 hours to remove all humans from these territories. Any who remain will be destroyed." The bridge became very quiet. Jake could hear the soft hum of the ship's engines. On Earth, there were millions of people living on colonies around other stars. They had farms, cities, and families. They could not just leave everything behind. "That's impossible," Jake said. "We have colonies with millions of people. We need more time to evacuate them." "Time is not given to lesser species," the alien replied. "The Zephyrian Empire has ruled this galaxy for 10,000 years. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. Your primitive technology cannot stand against us." Dr. Alex Turner stepped forward. As the ship's scientist, he had been studying the alien during the conversation. Something was bothering him about their visitor. "Captain," Alex whispered, "look at the readings from their ship. Their life signs show high stress levels. If they're so powerful, why are they nervous?" Jake glanced at the data on Alex's screen. The alien's heart rate was much faster than normal. Its body temperature had risen since the conversation began. These were signs of fear or worry. "You seem concerned about something, Ambassador," Jake said carefully. The alien's yellow eyes narrowed. "We are concerned about nothing. Your species will obey or be destroyed. This is not a negotiation." On Earth, Admiral Kate Sullivan was watching the conversation from Earth Command. She was the highest-ranking officer in the human space fleet. Kate had served in the military for 30 years, fighting in small wars between human colonies. But this was different. This was a threat to all of humanity. "Admiral," said her aide, "we're receiving reports from all our colonies. They're asking for orders." Kate thought carefully. The smart choice would be to evacuate. The alien empire sounded very powerful, but something felt wrong about this situation. Why would such a powerful empire need to warn humans at all? Why not just attack? Back on the Liberty, Jake made his decision. He looked directly at the alien ambassador. Ambassador Vexthara, we appreciate your warning. But these worlds are our homes now. Our people have worked hard to build new lives. There, we cannot abandon them. The alien's face showed surprise. You refuse? Do you not understand? We have ships that can destroy entire planets. We have weapons beyond your imagination. Your small fleet cannot stop us. Maybe not, Jake said. But we won't run away without a fight. Lisa watched her captain with pride. She knew this moment would change everything for humanity. Win or lose, they would face this threat together. Dr. Alex Turner continued studying the aliens' reactions. Every time the ambassador mentioned human military power, his stress levels increased. It was as if the alien knew something about humans. And he wasn't saying. You have made your choice, Vexthara said. In 72 hours, the Zephyrian war fleet will arrive. You cannot say you are not warned. The communication ended, and the alien ship disappeared into space. The Bridge of the Liberty was silent for a long moment. Captain, Lisa said finally, what are your orders? Jake looked out at the stars again. Somewhere out there, an alien. Empire was preparing for war against humanity. But humans had survived many dangers before. They had explored dangerous worlds, survived hostile environments, and built new homes among the stars. Send a message to Earth Command, Jake said. Tell them we're not running. And send a message to all human colonies. Tell them to prepare for whatever comes next. As the Liberty turned toward home, Jake wondered what the next few days would bring. He didn't know that across the galaxy, ancient records warned other species about one thing. Never corner a human who has nowhere to run. The Zephyrian war fleet arrived exactly 72 hours later. War Commander Thelanox stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Cosmic Dominion. The massive ship was 5 times larger than any human vessel. Behind him, 200 more ships waited in perfect formation. Thelanox was an old warrior. He had conquered 15 different species for the Empire. This should be easy. Humans were young and weak. Their technology was primitive. Most species surrendered immediately when they saw the Imperial fleet. War Commander, said his communications officer, we are receiving a transmission from the human home world. Put it on screen, Thelanox ordered. The face of Admiral Kate Sullivan appeared on the main display. She looked calm and determined. Behind her, Thelanox could see the busy control room of Earth Command. I am Admiral Sullivan of the Human Defense Force, she said. You are not welcome in our space. Leave now, or we will defend ourselves. Thelanox laughed. It was a deep, rumbling sound that made his crew smile. Admiral, do you see my fleet? We have enough firepower to turn your planets into dust. Surrender now, and your species will be allowed to live as servants of the Empire. We choose to fight. Kate replied simply. The communication ended. Thelanox shook his head. These humans were either very brave or very stupid. He would soon find out which. On Luna Base, Lieutenant Ben Parker was monitoring alien communications. Ben was young but very good with technology. He had learned to speak several human languages, and now he was trying to understand the alien signals. Colonel Davis, he called to his commander, I'm picking up chatter between the alien ships. They seem confused. Colonel Amy Davis walked over to Ben's station. Amy was Earth's defense coordinator, in charge of protecting the home system. She had been a soldier for 20 years and had never lost a battle. What are they saying? Amy asked. They're asking why we haven't evacuated our colonies. Their commander sounds surprised that we're preparing to fight instead of running away. Amy smiled grimly. They don't know humans very well, do they? The first battle began near Jupiter. The human fleet was much smaller than the alien force. Captain Jake Morrison commanded 20 ships, including the Liberty. The aliens had 50 ships in their attack group. Remember, Jake told his captains over the radio, "We can't match their energy weapons." But Chief Engineer Rick Thompson has given us something they won't expect. Rick Thompson had worked for 30 years building equipment for asteroid mining. When war became certain, he had modified the mining tools into weapons. The result was powerful railguns that could fire metal slugs at incredible speed. Zephyrian ships attacked first. Bright beams of energy shot through space toward the human fleet. Several human ships were hit and damaged. But they kept fighting. "Fire!" Jake ordered. The human ships fired their railguns. The metal slugs moved so fast they were invisible. Win! They hit the alien ships. The results were devastating. The Zephyrian energy shields were designed to stop laser beams and plasma bolts. They were useless against solid metal moving at enormous speed. 3 alien ships exploded in the first volley. 2 more were badly damaged and began drifting in space. "Impossible!" Thelanox shouted from his command ship. "Their weapons are primitive. How did they penetrate our shields?" His science officer checked the readings twice before answering. "War Commander, they're using kinetic projectiles. Our shields cannot stop solid matter moving at those speeds." Thelanox had never encountered such weapons before. In his long career, he had fought enemies with energy weapons, plasma cannons, and particle beams. But no civilized species used simple metal slugs as weapons. The battle continued for 6 hours. The humans lost 8 ships, but they destroyed 15 alien vessels and damaged many more. Finally, the Zephyrian fleet retreated to regroup. The Liberty, Commander Lisa Hayes, checked the damage reports. "Captain, we lost a lot of good people today, but we proved something important." "What's that?" Jake asked. "We can hurt them. They're not invincible." Dr. Alex Turner had been studying the battle data. "Captain, I think I understand why the aliens seemed nervous when they first contacted us. They knew this might happen." "What do you mean?" "Their computer systems contain files about human military history. They know how we fight, but they hoped to defeat us before we could adapt our tactics to space combat." Meanwhile, War Commander Thelanox was reporting to his Emperor. Emperor Zixandra appeared on the communication screen, his golden eyes burning with anger. "You were defeated by primitives?" The Emperor asked. "Not defeated, my lord. We withdrew to reassess the situation. The humans fight differently than expected. They use crude weapons, but they use them effectively. I do not care how they fight. Destroy them. Use whatever force is necessary." "Yes, my Emperor. But perhaps we should study their tactics first. They seem to adapt very quickly to new situations." The Emperor's anger grew. "Are you questioning my orders, War Commander?" "No, my lord. I will attack again immediately." But Thelanox was worried. In his long career, he had learned to recognize dangerous enemies. The humans had something that most species lacked. They refused to give up, even when facing impossible odds. On Earth, Admiral Kate Sullivan was planning the next phase of the defense. Reports were coming in from all the human colonies. The people were scared, but they were also angry. No one wanted to abandon their homes to alien invaders. "Admiral," said her aide, "we're receiving volunteers from every colony. Miners, farmers, teachers, everyone wants to help fight." Kate nodded. This was what made humans special. When threatened, they did not scatter and hide. They came together and fought as one people. The aliens would learn this lesson soon enough. But by then, it might be too late for the Zephyrian Empire to avoid a war they could not win. War Commander. Thelanox prepared his forces for the next attack. He had more ships and better weapons. But he could not shake the feeling that he was making a terrible mistake. The humans had shown they could fight. Now they would show the galaxy what happened when someone threatened their families and homes. The war spread throughout human space. War Commander Thelanox had learned from his first defeat. He brought more ships and changed his tactics. But he was about to learn something that no amount of preparation could fix. Humans became more dangerous. When they were angry, the battle for Mars began at dawn. Dr. Sam Rodriguez was working in the agricultural domes when the first alien ships appeared in the sky. Sam had spent 10 years turning Mars into a place where humans could grow food. The red planet now had green fields and flowing water. "All civilians to the shelters," announced the colony commander over the radio. "This is not a drill." But Sam had other ideas. He ran to the terraforming control center, where massive machines processed the Martian atmosphere. If the aliens wanted Mars, they would have to fight for every inch of it. The Zephyrian ground forces landed in perfect formation. Their silver armor gleamed in the Martian sunlight. They carried energy weapons that could melt steel. General Kexter led the attack personally. He had conquered 12 worlds for the Empire. "Secure the agricultural zones first," he ordered. His troops. "The humans need food to survive. Take away their farms, and they will surrender quickly." The alien soldiers marched toward the domes. They expected to find frightened farmers hiding in bunkers. Instead, they found Marine Sergeant Kelly Brooks waiting for them. Kelly had been a soldier for 15 years. She was tough, smart, and absolutely fearless. When the war started, she had volunteered to help defend the Mars colony. Now she was about to show the aliens why human Marines were different from any soldiers they had ever faced. "Come on, you alien scum," Kelly whispered into her radio. "Let's dance." The first alien squad entered the main dome. The air was thick with moisture from the growing plants. Visibility was poor, and the curved walls created strange echoes. Perfect conditions for an ambush. Kelly struck from above, dropping from the dome's support structure onto the lead alien soldier. Her combat knife found the weak spot in his armor. The alien fell without making a sound. The other aliens spun around, looking for their attacker. But Kelly was already gone, moving through the plants like a ghost. She picked off the aliens one by one, using tactics that no civilized army would consider honorable. "Report," General Kexter demanded over the radio. "Sir, we've lost contact with the first squad. Requesting backup." The general sent 2 more squads, then 4, then an entire company. All of them disappeared into the agricultural domes. The few survivors who made it out were shaking with fear. "What happened in there?" the general asked one of them. "A human ... She fights like a demon. She uses the environment against us. She turns our own tactics into traps. Sir, I don't think she's entirely sane." Meanwhile, Dr. Sam Rodriguez was busy at the terraforming control center. The massive atmospheric processors could create breathable air from the Martian atmosphere. But with a few modifications, they could create something else entirely. Sam had studied chemistry before becoming a terraforming specialist. He knew exactly which gases would be harmless to humans, but deadly to the aliens. Within an hour, he had turned the colony's life support system into a chemical weapon. The alien forces outside the domes suddenly found it hard to breathe. Their sensors went crazy as toxic gases filled the air around their landing site. Soldiers began collapsing, and their equipment started malfunctioning. "Retreat to orbit," General Kexter ordered. "The humans have poisoned the atmosphere." But the surprises were not over. As the alien shuttles tried to take off, they came under attack from an unexpected source. The mining mechs that normally extracted minerals from the Martian soil had been converted into combat units. Chief Engineer Rick Thompson had worked with the Mars colony's technical staff to turn the big machines into walking weapons. The mechs were slow and clumsy, but they were also incredibly tough. The aliens' energy weapons barely scratched their thick armor. The mechs grabbed alien shuttles with their industrial arms and crushed them like tin cans. Other shuttles were brought down by mining charges that had been converted into anti-aircraft missiles. Captain Jake Morrison watched the battle from orbit aboard the Liberty. His ship had been damaged in the fighting around Jupiter, but he could still coordinate the defense efforts. "Lisa, are you getting this data?" he asked his tactical officer. Commander Lisa Hayes was studying the readouts from Mars. "Captain, the aliens are losing ground troops faster than they can land them. Their casualties are incredible." Dr. Alex Turner looked up from his research station. "Captain, I've been analyzing the alien communications. They're genuinely confused by our tactics. Their commanders keep asking why we don't fight honorably." Jake smiled grimly. "Honor is a luxury we can't afford right now. We're fighting for our survival." Intelligence Officer Nicole Webb had been monitoring Zephyrian encrypted communications. Nicole was brilliant with languages and codes. She had managed to break some of the alien cipher systems. "Captain," she said excitedly, "you need to hear this. I've decoded part of their classified database." She played the recording. Even translated into English, the alien voices sounded worried, confirming species identification. Humans, Sol System, third planet. Warning level, maximum. Recommend immediate withdrawal if possible. Previous contact with this species resulted in total fleet loss. Do not engage humans in ground combat under any circumstances. Their combat methods violate all known rules of civilized warfare. The bridge fell silent. Finally, Jake spoke. They knew. They knew what we were capable of, and they tried to conquer us anyway. Why would they do that? Lisa asked. Dr. Alex Turner had been thinking about this question. Because they were afraid of what we might become if we were left alone. They wanted to defeat us while we were still confined to a small area of space. The battle for Mars ended with complete human victory. The Zephyrian Empire had lost an entire invasion force. General Kexter was among the few survivors who made it back to the fleet. War Commander Thalanox listened to the general's report with growing concern. "You're telling me that a single human soldier held off an entire company of our best troops?" "She was not fighting alone, sir. The entire colony had been turned into a weapon. Every system, every machine, every building was designed to kill us. And the humans themselves, they fight with a ferocity that defies explanation." Philae Knox reviewed the casualty reports. In 3 days of fighting, the Empire had lost more soldiers than in their last 5 conquests combined. And the humans were just getting started. On Earth, Admiral Kate Sullivan was coordinating the defense of the entire human sphere. Reports were coming in from every colony. The pattern was the same everywhere. When aliens landed, they faced desperate resistance from people who refused to give up their homes. "Admiral," her aide reported, "we're getting requests for military advisors from 3 different alien species. Apparently, news of our tactics is spreading through the galaxy." Kate raised an eyebrow. "Other aliens want to learn how to fight like humans?" "Yes, ma'am. It seems we've started something bigger than just defending ourselves. The war was far from over. But the aliens were beginning to understand that they had made a terrible mistake. Humans did not fight like civilized species. They fought to win, no matter what it cost, and that made them the most dangerous enemy the Zephyrian Empire had ever faced. Emperor Zixandra had ruled the Zephyrian Empire for 300 years. In all that time, no enemy had ever humiliated his forces like the humans were doing now. His pride would not allow this insult to continue. "Bring me the Imperial Grand Fleet," he commanded his admirals. "We will finish this personally." The Grand Fleet was the Empire's ultimate weapon. It contained 50 world-killer ships, each one capable of destroying an entire planet. The Emperor had never needed to use the full fleet before. Most enemies surrendered just from seeing it. War Commander Thelanox tried one last time to change his Emperor's mind. "My lord, perhaps we should negotiate. The humans have proven to be formidable opponents. We could offer them a place in the Empire as equals." The Emperor's golden eyes burned with rage. Equals? These primitives dare to resist the Empire, and you suggest we treat them as equals? No, Thelanox. They will be destroyed completely. Every human world will burn. The Grand Fleet arrived at Earth's solar system like a moving constellation of stars. There were so many ships that they blocked out part of the sky. On Earth, people looked up and saw their doom approaching. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood in Earth Command, watching the sensor readings. She had never imagined so many ships could exist. The alien fleet was larger than humanity's entire space program. "Admiral," her communications officer said, "we're receiving a transmission from the enemy flagship." Emperor Zixandra's face appeared on the main screen. He was magnificent and terrible, with golden skin and eyes that seemed to glow with inner fire. When he spoke, his voice carried the authority of someone who had ruled 1,000 worlds. "I am Emperor Zixandra, Lord of the Zephyrian Empire, Conqueror of nations, Master of stars. You have defied my will for the last time. Surrender now, and I will allow your species to serve as slaves. Continue to resist, and I will turn your worlds into cosmic dust." Kate looked directly at the Emperor. She was just a human from a small planet, facing the ruler of half the galaxy. But she was not afraid. "I am Admiral Kate Sullivan of Earth. We don't surrender to bullies, no matter how big their ships are. If you want our worlds, you'll have to fight for them." The Emperor laughed, but it was not a pleasant sound. "Very well. You have chosen death. Attack." The Imperial Grand Fleet opened fire with weapons that could destroy moons. Beams of pure energy lanced toward Earth's defensive fleet. The human ships scattered, using every trick they had learned in the previous battles. Captain Jake Morrison commanded the USS Defiant, the newest and strongest ship in the human fleet. It was still much smaller than the alien vessels, but it carried the most advanced weapons Chief Engineer Rick Thompson could build. "All ships, remember the plan?" Jake broadcast to the fleet. "We can't win a straight fight, so we don't fight straight. Hit and run, use asteroids for cover, and make every shot count." The space around Earth became a battlefield unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human ships darted between the massive alien vessels like insects attacking giants. They fired their railguns and then disappeared behind planets or into asteroid fields before the aliens could return fire. But the Empire's fleet was too large. Slowly, the human ships were being destroyed. Admiral Kate Sullivan watched helplessly as her forces were overwhelmed. Then something unexpected happened. Tony Garcia, a civilian mechanic working on Luna Base, made a discovery that would change everything. Tony had been studying captured alien technology, trying to understand how their computers worked. He was not a trained scientist, just a man who was good with machines. But sometimes the best solutions came from people who did not know something was supposed to be impossible. "Admiral Sullivan," Tony called over the radio, "I think I can hack into their ship systems. Their computers use quantum encryption, but I found a backdoor." "What kind of backdoor?" Kate asked. "They have maintenance protocols for their automated systems. If I can access those, I can turn their own ships against them." Working with programmer Megan Foster, Tony began the most important hacking job in human history. Megan was a genius with computer codes who had volunteered to help the war effort. Together, they broke into the alien network. "I'm in," Megan announced. "Tony, can you cause malfunctions in their weapon systems?" "Better than that," Tony replied. I can make their ships fire on each other." Across the Imperial Grand Fleet, chaos erupted. Ship computers began receiving false orders. Weapons systems turned on nearby vessels. Navigation computers sent ships crashing into each other. The perfect formation of the Grand Fleet dissolved into confusion. Meanwhile, Captain Jake Morrison was leading a desperate assault on the Emperor's flagship. The massive ship was protected by smaller vessels and powerful shields. Getting close seemed impossible. "Captain," said Commander Lisa Hayes, "I have an idea. What if we don't try to go around their defenses? What if we go through them?" Jake understood it immediately. The Liberty had been badly damaged, but its engines still worked. "You're talking about a ramming attack?" "Yes, sir. We punch a hole in their defenses, and the boarding parties go through." It was incredibly dangerous. The Liberty would probably be destroyed in the attack, but it might create an opening for the other ships. "Do it," Jake ordered. The Liberty accelerated toward the Emperor's flagship at maximum speed. The alien defense ships fired everything they had, but the small human vessel was moving too fast to hit accurately. At the last second, Jake ordered his crew to abandon ship. While he stayed at the controls, the Liberty smashed through the flagship's outer hull like a bullet through paper. The explosion created a gap in the ship's defenses, and human boarding parties poured through. Sergeant Kelly Brooks led the assault team into the alien ship. The corridors were huge, designed for beings larger than humans. But that gave the human soldiers more room to maneuver and hide. "Remember," Kelly told her troops, "we're not here to fight fair. We're here to win." The human boarding party moved through the ship like a virus through a body. They sabotaged systems, planted explosives, and fought the alien defenders with tactics that violated every rule of civilized warfare. Dr. Alex Turner had joined the boarding party, not as a soldier, but as a scientist. His job was to find the ship's computer core and upload a virus that would spread to the entire fleet. Alex found the computer core in the heart of the ship. It was a beautiful crystalline structure that pulsed with light. He connected his portable computer and began the upload. "Virus is spreading," he reported. "It should reach all their ships in about 10 minutes. But they might not have 10 minutes. The aliens were fighting desperately to retake their flagship. And somewhere in the massive ship, Emperor Zixandra was rallying his forces for a final counterattack. The battle for the Emperor's flagship would determine the fate of both species. If the humans could capture or kill the Emperor, the war would be over. If they failed, Earth itself would be destroyed. In the chaos of battle, neither side knew that this moment would be remembered throughout the galaxy as the day humanity proved that size and power were not the only things that mattered in war. Sometimes courage and determination were enough. The corridors of the Emperor's flagship echoed with the sounds of battle. Human soldiers moved through the alien ship like shadows, striking where the enemy least expected them. Sergeant Kelly Brooks had split her forces into small teams, each one targeting a different critical system. Emperor Zixandra stood in his throne room, surrounded by his personal guard. For the first time in 3 centuries, he felt something he had almost forgotten: fear. The humans were fighting their way toward him, and nothing seemed able to stop them. "How many invaders are there?" he demanded of his security chief. "Perhaps 50, my Emperor. No more than 100. 50 humans are destroying my flagship?" The Emperor's voice rose in disbelief. "We have 10,000 crew members aboard this ship." The security chief had no answer. The truth was too embarrassing to admit. The humans fought like nothing the Empire had ever encountered. They used the ship's own systems against its defenders. They turned maintenance tunnels into attack routes. They seemed to appear from nowhere and disappear before the aliens could respond. Captain Jake Morrison had survived the crash of the Liberty. His ship was destroyed, but he was alive and leading a team toward the ship's bridge. Blood ran down his face from a head wound, but he kept moving forward. "Dr. Turner, how much longer until the virus spreads to the entire fleet?" he asked over his radio. "5 more minutes, Captain," Alex replied from the computer core. "But I'm running out of time. The aliens are trying to break through my defenses." In the computer core, Dr. Alex Turner was fighting a different kind of battle. The alien computer system was trying to reject his virus while he worked frantically to keep it spreading. His portable computer was connected to the most advanced technology in the galaxy, and somehow he was winning. "A virus is in 70% of their fleet," he reported. "Their ships are starting to malfunction." Outside the flagship, the Imperial Grand Fleet was falling apart. Ships that had fought together for centuries were now firing on each other. Due to corrupted computer systems, navigation computers sent vessels crashing into asteroids. Weapon systems overloaded and exploded. Tony Garcia and Megan Foster, working from Luna Base, were coordinating the cyber attack. Every few minutes, they found new ways to turn the alien technology against itself. "Megan, can you access their communication system?" Tony asked. "Working on it," she replied, her fingers flying over her keyboard. "Got it. I can broadcast to their entire fleet." "Perfect. Let's give them something to think about." Throughout the Imperial Grand Fleet, every communication screen suddenly displayed the same message. Humanity does not surrender. We do not retreat. We do not forgive. Leave our space or join your emperor in defeat. The message was accompanied by images from the battles at Mars, Jupiter, and the other human colonies. The aliens saw their own forces being defeated by humans, who refused to follow the accepted rules of warfare. On the flagship, Emperor Zixandra was beginning to understand that he had made a terrible mistake. His empire had conquered 1,000 worlds by following the same pattern: overwhelming force followed by quick surrender. But humans did not surrender. They fought harder when they were losing. "My emperor," his security chief reported, "the human assault teams have reached the outer defense perimeter. They'll be here in minutes." The emperor drew his ceremonial sword. It was made from metal found only on the Empire's home world, and it had never been used in actual combat. "Then we make our final stand here," but the battle was already over. Sergeant Kelly Brooks appeared in the throne room doorway like an avenging angel. Her armor was damaged, her face was dirty, but her eyes burned with determination. "Emperor Zixandra," she said calmly, "you are under arrest for crimes against humanity." The Emperor's guards raised their weapons, but Kelly was not alone. Human soldiers poured into the throne room from multiple entrances. The aliens were outnumbered and outflanked. The Emperor looked at the small human woman who had just captured him. How? How did you defeat the greatest empire in the galaxy?" Kelly smiled, but it was not a pleasant expression. "You made one mistake, Your Majesty. You threatened our families. Humans will forgive almost anything, but we don't forgive threats to our children." The battle for the flagship ended with the Emperor's surrender. Captain Jake Morrison accepted the alien leader's sword in a ceremony that was broadcast throughout the galaxy. For the first time in galactic history, a major empire had been defeated by a species that had barely begun exploring space. War Commander Thelon was the highest-ranking Imperial officer still alive. He contacted Admiral Kate Sullivan to negotiate the terms of surrender. "Admiral Sullivan," he said, "I formally surrender the Imperial Grand Fleet to humanity. But I must ask, how did you know our weaknesses so well?" Kate smiled. "We didn't know your weaknesses. We just used our strengths. Humans adapt quickly to new situations. We improvise. We refuse to give up. And we fight for each other." The aftermath of the war surprised everyone. Instead of demanding territory or tribute, the humans offered to help rebuild the damaged Zephyrian fleet. They shared their medical technology to help alien wounded. They even offered to train Imperial forces in human military tactics. Dr. Alex Turner made a disturbing discovery while studying the Imperial archives. "Admiral," he reported to Kate Sullivan, "the Empire's database contains records of 12 other species that have defeated them using similar tactics. All of them learned to fight by studying human military history." "You mean we're not the first?" Kate asked. "No, ma'am. But we might be the most successful. The other species only won single battles. We defeated their entire Grand Fleet." Commander Lisa Hayes, now promoted to Admiral, was appointed as humanity's first ambassador to the Galactic Council. Her job was to represent human interests in a wider galaxy. "It's ironic," she told Jake Morrison during their first meeting. "With alien diplomats, they were afraid of what we might become if left alone. Now half the galaxy wants to learn our military techniques." The war had unexpected consequences. Species that had been conquered by the Empire decades ago began to rebel, using tactics they had learned from studying human battles. The rigid order that had kept the galaxy peaceful for millennia was crumbling. Captain Jake Morrison received a new assignment, commanding the first human deep space exploration fleet. His mission was to make contact with other species and establish peaceful relations. But every ship in his fleet was armed with the latest human weapons, just in case. The most surprising change came from the aliens themselves. War Commander Thelanox requested permission to study at the new Human Military Academy on Mars. Other alien officers followed his example. They wanted to learn how humans had achieved the impossible. "Your species has given us a gift," Thelanox told Jake during one of their training sessions. "You have shown us that there is always another way to fight, always another solution to try. We had become too comfortable with our old methods." Dr. Sam Rodriguez continued his terraforming work, but now he had requests from dozens of alien worlds. Species throughout the galaxy wanted to learn human techniques for turning hostile planets into gardens. Sam found himself teaching aliens how to build the same atmospheric processors that had defeated their invasion forces. Chief Engineer Rick Thompson became the most famous human in the galaxy. Alien engineers traveled from across known space to learn his methods for converting civilian technology into military weapons. Rick opened a school on Earth where he taught both humans and aliens how to think creatively about technology. But the most important change was in how the galaxy viewed humanity. Before the war, humans had been seen as a primitive species barely worth noticing. Now they were respected as the most dangerous military force in known space. 6 months after the war ended, Jake Morrison received an urgent message while exploring a distant star system. The communication came from the Galactic Council, the organization that governed relations between different species. "Captain Morrison," said the council speaker, a tall alien with silver skin, "we have a situation that requires human intervention. The Nexari Empire has declared war on 3 smaller species. They refuse to negotiate and have ignored all our peace treaties." Jake studied the data the council had sent. The Nexari were even larger than the Zephyrian Empire had been. They controlled over 2,000 worlds and had never lost a war. "What exactly are you asking us to do?" Jake replied. "We want you to warn them about human military capabilities. Perhaps the threat of facing your tactics will convince them to negotiate." Jake smiled. The galaxy had learned its lesson about underestimating humans. Now they wanted to use humanity's reputation as a weapon for peace. The warning was delivered by Admiral Kate Sullivan herself. She appeared on communication screens throughout Nexari space, addressing their emperor directly. "Your Majesty," she said calmly, "I am Admiral Sullivan of the Human Defense Force. We understand you are planning military action against smaller species. As members of the Galactic Council, we advise you to reconsider." Emperor Nexvalder of the Nexari laughed when he received the message. Humans? The species that defeated the Zephyrians? I have studied their tactics. They are crude and uncivilized. My forces will crush them easily. But his military advisors were not so confident. They had also studied the human war records. More importantly,